Welcome to the Live the Call podcast, where I speak with guests living and working their soul's purpose. I'm Pamela Downs, founder of Spirit Calling and trans-channeler of the Great Council of Light. Every episode, our guests share their awakening story, and together we learn how they came to live their spirit's call. Join me in tales of self-discovery, enlightenment, and transformation to amplify your healing journey. Welcome to another episode of Live the Call, where we dive deep into the lives and journeys of remarkable individuals who are making a significant impact in the world. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest, Dawn Link. Dawn is a humanitarian, an intuitive healer, educator, and public speaker. But she's widely recognized for her profound influence on personal and collective transformation. With a compassionate heart and visionary spirit, Dawn has devoted her life to empowering individuals to embrace their true selves and achieve holistic well-being. She's the host of a streaming TV show, Authentically You, as well as Telepathic in Nature and Intentional Living. We can't wait to hear all about them. And they're all available on the Ethereal TV network, which this is how Dawn and I met. So I'm so excited to talk about that, to talk about our shows, to talk about our work. And I just want to honor, you for being here today. And thank you so much, Dawn. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me and having me.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to hear your story and to dive into all the things that you've been doing. So this podcast is an inspiration to our community members and our audience for people who have heard, they've heard that call,
Yes.
right? And then they listened and then
Right.
they are living it by creating impact in the world. So I'd love to hear how that journey of hearing it started for you.
Sure. I think we all, when we get a call like that, we start in one train of thought of what we think we understand about it. But then as we go through it, it kind of shifts. And that's
Yeah.
definitely what happened for me. Because for me, I was much older. I'm 58 now, just so you know, but I was much older, like in my 40s when I started like really having this profound push and urge in me to do something else. That there was more to this. I wasn't seeing the whole picture. I walked into a metaphysical store, which I had never been drawn to before. And when I did that, I was just like, oh my God, what is this? I felt like I was going crazy. I just couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't do enough research. I couldn't, figure out why this was. And I actually ended up opening my own store because of it. And I just knew that I knew that I knew that I knew
Mm.
that it was right.
Yes.
And when that resonates within you,
Yeah.
that is that call and that's that feeling. At the time, I wasn't really understanding it so much. And I opened the store. And then for me, I started getting into Reiki and quantum healing and channeling and all of those things. So I really just went boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And didn't see that coming. I was
We
like,
don't see that coming or we
no,
wouldn't do
we
it.
don't see that. But and then I started teaching others and talking to them about healing their fear, healing their emotions, letting go of all the old constructs and things they've been taught, all of those things. And that's what all my teaching is around right now. But ironically, I went through this place which was a little hard to understand at first, because literally, if you think about it, a lot of things in a metaphysical store are fear driven. Not that I meant or intend them to be that way, but most
Right.
people who walk in are looking for help because they don't know what to do
Yeah.
with what they're feeling, what they're. So I went through this place in my mind of, how am I going to sell these things? And I had to get to this different place with it. I really had to analyze that and go, well, if someone walks in the door, that gives me an opportunity to speak with them and help them in another way, right? And even
Yeah.
help energetically and support them. And some metaphysical stores you walk in, they're not that. There's the stuff, you buy it and go on your way. But for me, it's an opportunity when you come through that door to let me show you another way. This is
Mhm.
great, right? And then I had to come to the realization of, it's nothing bad even if it's a placebo effect. Even if I'm your placebo effect, that can take you to that place in your mind and your heart and your soul that lets you know that you have abilities just like we all do. I mean, I'm a
Mhm.
firm believer. It's all in there. It's in there. You just have to be aware of it. You have to tap into it. You have to believe in it. You have to have faith. And it can be a little scary because you're then looking at yourself going, "Who in the world
Who
am I?"
am I?
No one,
Yes.
this is not what was told to me.
Mhm.
This is not what was handed to me. And that's okay because our parents and everyone before us, and even ourselves raising our own children, have only taught what we know.
Right.
We knew. That's not
We
us
only know.
going back and going, "Oh, you messed me up." No, it's not like that at all. It's
Yeah.
a compassion for it. It's a being able to move forward from it and having confidence and empowerment that there's more to you than just getting up, going to work, going to sleep, and waiting to die. That's
Right. How
living.
sad is that? How
Yeah,
sad
it's
is that?
not living. It's not
Yeah.
having joy in just, oh, there's a ladybug. It
That's
just changed
exactly, that's
everything.
so funny. Yeah, because the channel message from this month, it's funny you said ladybug, sorry to interrupt, but it's so perfect because they talked about a ladybug. They talked about going into nature. They talked about breaking
Right,
away from technology, the
right,
conversations, all
right,
the things, taking a
right,
moment to admire the simple things like the ladybug who's not carried away by the wind. Like, how does she stay there?
right,
And but you had to go through, you are the living example, and so am I. This is why
right.
we've built these communities. But having gone through that spiritual awakening journey, having to have to experience it, I'm experiencing this. What do I do? I'm walking in the metaphysical store and having some sort of aha moment that this resonates with you. And it ignited that opening of those new chapters in your life. So that's beautiful that you are able to relate to this is how we are really able to relate
And
by our
and strangely enough,
journeys.
that experience, did open me up to learning many other things, some of which are not really in alignment with who my soul is. But that's okay because they made it very
Learning.
clear to me, we allow you to learn many things, but do not forget who you are and where you come from. And
Hmm.
at first I was like, "Holy crap." It's like, we allow you to learn about different arts or whatever that is, but that's not really your true alignment. Just be sure that you know where you're at and
Hmm.
what your journey is,
Hmm.
right? And some people will go, "Well, how do you even know that?" It's just things that start coming in, like information or even channelings you channel yourself, or
Hmm.
feelings that resonate. And we are a big barometer, and we're so used to shutting our feelings down that we just screw it all up, in this whole emotional entanglement that is, I tell people, we are coming as humanity, we are coming out of our terrible twos right now. I mean, think about that. We really
Hmm.
are. How many people do you see that whine and cry and moan and, they're the victim, but we're coming out of that and seeing that we don't have to be that and there's another way to do it, is how it
Yeah.
feels. So
And
I'm very
if,
passionate about that. And
hmm.
I talk to people a lot about getting back to their true nature. And
Hmm.
you don't even know what that is because you've never experienced it in this
Yeah,
lifetime,
you've
because
never
nobody knows
tried.
how to show you to get there,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, and people
That's why,
want something more. They want something
right.
more. They're
And that's
seeking.
they're seeking, they're like, this has gotta be more to
Hmm.
this, right?
Hmm. They're getting
I
fed
think
up, and that's what we're finding. And there's a swell that's happening now, and there's a swell. I channeled a message for July. There's a swell, man, coming. And this month,
right,
there's going to be a lot of divide. There's going to be a lot of not conflict, but chaos. There's a change agent, and change. The
right.
energy of change is coming, and
It'll
so
feel chaotic,
people,
yes,
yes, and they want to believe in something. People want more. The last 4 years, there's been so many things put in place and restriction, all these things where people's spirits are like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right.
right.
It's not answering my questions. They're going on their own journeys of finding information
Eh,
because, like you said, they're coming out of this place where they didn't even think or care or
yep.
want to know more. Yeah.
They talked to me a lot about the butterfly effect, and they showed me, why that works for me in my mind, because
Mm-hmm.
we were a worm,
Mm-hmm.
which then turned into something that could fly.
Mm-hmm.
You know how
Spectacular.
amazing that is? That's
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing. We're literally changing the lay of the land, the constructs, and what we believe and have faith in. And that to me, this is an amazing time to be alive. Some people say it
Mhm.
sucks right now. No, it doesn't to me. I'm
Mhm.
pretty good, you know, um, with understanding that we are seeing something unfold
Mhm.
that is going to be forever life changing for people, forever.
Yeah. Yep. We're here at this moment in time on planet Earth to
Yes,
witness such a great change. And the
yes,
butterfly effect is amazing because it requires, it's perseverance. It's
yes,
the butterfly has to struggle and get strong and go through change and, not give up and all the things to be able
yes,
to come out and prevail and be magnificent and
right,
glorious and magical and all the things.
right.
And that we're born with that. That's innately
Yeah,
who we are. And we're
exactly.
remembering that. Yeah.
Right. And so, and I feel like that's why all of us, there's so many people, if you notice, being called these days to do this type of work. It used to
Hmm.
be there was these really big name known people that did certain things, and Eckhart Tolle and Chop, whoever. And now it's just like all these people are just, and they're being driven. They're feeling this drive within them to do exactly what we're doing now and speak to people about it because that's how you
Hmm.
make change.
Hmm.
You can't help but be it. If
Hmm.
if the changes become within you, it's you're over here being a butterfly, you're not speaking caterpillar. I mean, you
You're
can,
just not doing it anymore.
right? You ju you know, you
You
you you
can, yeah.
you can,
Hmm.
but the reason you can is because you were that, and you
Hmm.
kinda turn it and go, "Okay, I understand you, and I can help you. That stuck feeling you're having, I can help you get rid of that. You just have to be willing to step into the unknown and out of your
Yeah.
sensory living, your 5 senses, I call it sensory living, and
Hmm.
into your consciousness living."
And I think that's as you had your store, getting back to that, as you had your store and you started experiencing
Yes,
people's questions and their needs and you started understanding your talents, then you're
yes,
seeing you're unfolding you and
right.
you're able to
And
understand that you're a
the
teacher.
universe will throw you in the fire.
Hmm.
My first reading that I ever did for someone, because for 2 years I ran the store and that's all I did was run the store. I had someone else here that did readings and things like that, but once I got to the place where I felt like I was gonna do that, I had actually learned how to read cards, but they never really,
Mm.
you
It's one of
know,
those
and I
things.
had I had 5, it's a funny story. I had 5 decks of cards there and the ladies are sitting in front of me and I said, "Well, I'm gonna decide which deck to use." And I went to reach for them and I heard a male voice say, now this is the first time I was hearing that. Male voice said, "Don't touch the cards." And I'm trying to be cool, fam. I'm trying to be
Right. You're
like
like
I
in
got
front
my
of the other
crap
people.
together and I know exactly what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, so we tried it a couple. I said, okay, well, I'm gonna pick a deck now. And it was don't touch the cards.
Mm.
And he meant it.
Mhm.
And I listened. So what did Dawn do? She listened. I was obedient to it. And I looked at them and I said, look, you guys are going to think I'm nuts, but I'm hearing don't touch the cards. So I'm not going to touch the cards. We're going to see how this goes. You're either going to love it and you're going to pay me, or you're not and you won't. And I'm okay with
And
that.
that's okay.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Right?
Mhm.
Exactly. There's a part of me too. And I don't have that struggles sometimes with having to charge someone for something, and I do a lot of free work
Mhm.
in the store. I mean, I put my hands on people and do healing work for folks all the time for free
Mhm.
because I feel like this is something they shouldn't have to pay for.
And it opens them up too. It shifts them. It's
Yes.
experiential.
Yes. But I mean, I have an entity here that I have to support, to
Mhm.
pay. So
Mhm.
there are classes that I charge for and certain things that I charge for, but wherever I can do free things, like on Sundays, I teach for free.
Mhm.
And we have that Sundays at 10 o'clock. And people come actually in person or via Zoom and they zoom in. And I feel like, it's a balance.
Yeah. And that's you deciding what you want to do. You
Right.
know, I think I've talked about this many times and when I channel, the guides have talked about this too. There is a worthiness that lots of people that sit in this new space of tapping into their talents and supporting people's journeys. They don't know if they feel worthy or they're still dealing with issues of worthiness and abundance and all of those things. And they're coming into it now. They're
Yes.
coming into it now. It's their time. And it's that time we talked about on
Yep.
planet Earth, where it's funny you brought up Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. They worked for people for a while, but
Yes.
they were only surface level. Their
Right.
concepts and constructs and, some tools, but there's a dive that's happening now.
Yes.
People are channeling or popping up everywhere. And
Right.
just look at both of us being on the Ethereal Network now, and how
Right.
many people there are there, and how many people we have are going to support, that are going to come there, that are
Right.
waking up to all of this, and then they're tapping into their abilities, and it's beautiful. But so I might have to come down to Virginia Beach and see you and meet you in person. I'm feeling drawn while you're talking about that.
Right. Yes, it's
But
it's amazing to me. So also what started happening in my work was through just sitting and doing readings or healing work with people, I automatically started saying, you are this, right?
Mhm,
And they're just looking at me. And I'm like, you are this. Let me help you understand how you are this.
mhm.
I don't need to be your psychic.
Right, you can do
I
this.
can teach you
Hmm.
how to tap into that. It's for me, I'm very connected to Jesus, even though I'm not like super religious or anything. I have
Right.
like all kinds of pictures of people in here. And it's a mix of spiritual but for me, it's like the thread of love. If love runs through it, then that's
Hmm.
resonates. And I teach people all the time. It's for me, it's like not hearing about Jesus.
Hmm.
It's this with him, and it's applying in here the things that he was saying that when I was younger made absolutely no sense to me.
Hmm. Right. Love.
Now I look at it, and if I read his words or if I read Matthew, I'm like, holy crap, you knew the whole time. No one was getting it, but you knew, you know.
You knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always with us.
Right.
It's funny. I've had an affinity with him since I was a little girl, and
Yes. I have
I grew
people that
up
work
Catholic.
energetically and they'll see him,
Yeah.
here
Hmm.
in it, and they're like, I saw Jesus. I ain't never seen. I said, that's okay. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. He's a
Maybe
good
that's
guy. We love him.
yeah, exactly. Lots of beings though, even like I channel as well. I don't sit and just it just happens for me automatically. So just a
Hmm.
little warning, if we're talking and for some reason I start to sound Australian, that
Hmm.
will be I call her Cecilia. She's
Hmm.
Palladian. I've had contact with the council before, the ones that you
Hmm.
channel, but I'm not,
Hmm.
I just get the information that comes in and sometimes it does come out of me.
Hmm.
Sometimes unexpected. Half the time when I'm teaching on Sundays, I'm channeling.
You're channeling. Yes.
And that's
Yep.
okay. It's consciousness. And it's coming in, and whoever is needed in that moment is how it works for me.
Hmm.
Sometimes on Sunday, I don't even prepare until that morning because it's like I'm getting ready for whoever my being in here knows is showing up and whatever
Hmm.
message needs to be told for whoever's sitting in the room in that moment. I know
I
that
love that.
sounds crazy, but I don't care because I
It, do-
get it.
it doesn't sound crazy, but the people that are coming are drawn to it, and they want to be near it, and they want to learn more, and they want to tap into it, and it
Right,
feels good, and the resonance of it is just so aligned. And that's what people are unknowingly. They don't even know why. Just like when we went into our first metaphysical store, or for me, when I started waking up, it was a library. I was in
right.
that section trying to gobble up. It was a
Everything you
small
can
little
find.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a small section of the
That
library.
section has really grown.
It's really grown, right? And now we have like YouTube and the internet and like all the things. But
Right,
I'd love to talk about, when the between now and when you started working with your client, and you had your store, like when did it evolve into you teaching in a different way, and creating all the different courses and things that you have, and then
right,
ultimately getting into now the Ethereal Network, because it's just a different channel. It's a different way to reach more people,
right.
doing basically what you've been doing. But I think that people would love
So
and find that
really
interesting.
over the last 2 years,
Mm,
I have really been driven. And the classes that I create come out of my experience through my transformation and awakening. And I was
hmm.
telling someone this morning that what I want to do is take you from your small, closed mindset, fixed mindset of, well, it has to be this, and this person said it had to be that, and to take you from that into flow, belief, faith, and resonance. You just
Mhm.
let it flow. It's the letting go and just
Mm.
letting things flow. And if that means that your perspective over here 6 months down the road is different than it was here, then great, because now you're not staying stuck and you're
Yeah.
not letting yourself evolve. And that's where most of these classes are driven. So there's a whole series called Embracing the New You, because people are looking at themselves when they go through this and going, who in the world am I?
Yes.
Not only are they, but their friends and family, right? They're looking at them like,
Mhm.
you are just out there.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. What's this about, right?
Mhm.
And there's a three series in that class. And then I got involved with Will, and it's all these synchronicities happen about how we met, and it's just
Mhm.
wonderful, right?
Mhm.
I never sat and recorded a podcast until I was sat with them. And then I never recorded anything until I started doing my shows for Ethereal.
Yep, because it was time. It was
Yeah,
what you were
exactly.
the
It
next
felt
step.
I had been feeling for a little while up to that, like you should start recording Sundays or you should start recording this. And I even got the camera that I use now. And I thought, okay, well, and every time it would come up in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, when it's time, it'll happen.
Mhm.
It's time. And
Mhm.
I've become very comfortable with doing it now. It's not a thing.
Yeah, you seem very comfortable. You're born for the screen this way.
Yeah, it flows through naturally.
Yeah.
People who come here for classes and on Sundays say, feel like you're supposed to stand up in front of a bunch of people and talk.
Yes,
I'm
for
like,
sure.
okay, that's
Mhm.
gonna happen. I get it.
Mhm.
Yeah, and when
Yeah,
it's
people
divine
will tell
timing. Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah, they'll tell you what they want. The same thing happened with me. I was just starting to do podcasts,
mm,
and I was on the podcast with him. And normally, the person that I was working with at the time does most of the talking. And something happened that episode, and she was noised. She couldn't focus, and I was
right,
brought to the forefront. And it was very interesting. I remember thinking something happened. I don't understand what it is,
right.
but then this
Felt
person
it.
left, and it was just me. And the divine timing around it, it's absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible, because it's meant to happen now. And
Right.
that's how it works. That's what we try to tell everyone who's listening. There's a master plan for your life. You are
Yeah,
not in control of it.
right,
It's whatever you decided before you came back down on planet Earth, when you
right.
entered your physical body, your energetic beautiful soul body. You
Yep,
made a contract with your soul family and with whomever that said they'd carry you along, they'd help you to get to this place and that place, but you had to make all the right choices.
right.
You had to say yes to the things. And,
Well,
you
that's it.
know,
You
yep.
know, I tell people all the time that God doesn't pick the what's the word I want to use? The people who are capable.
Hmm.
He makes the people who say yes capable. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? It's like
It does,
you
because you're
make
the
you have
conviction of
choices.
energy.
God always says yes. And people look at me sometimes when I say that. I'm like, you have choices in life. God always says yes. If you say, God, I need more money, he said, yes, you do.
Hmm.
But that's not where you need to be to get it,
Right,
you know? And,
exactly.
you know,
Yes.
and I understand that now. Uh,
Hmm.
and it's just so wonderful to understand that and just kind of chuckle at things we used to do in the past and how we used
Hmm.
to carry ourselves and not see that we were actually in our own way.
Hmm.
We were
We
in
didn't know.
the flow.
Hmm.
You cannot, I tell people all the time, if you'll just stop building how it has to come to you, it'll come like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
It has to switch. You have to give it up. You have to let go and loosen the reins so that it can flow. But we've
Hmm.
always been taught in our lives to be that,
To
to
work
be
hard.
controlled. Yeah, work
Hmm.
hard. You have to go to college, get a degree, get married, have a house, 2.5 kids. What the hell is 2.5 kids? I don't even know. What is that?
What is a half a kid?
Exactly. I don't get it.
Right. I don't get it. And
Yeah,
that's what we're born into. And
right.
that's what all of our message are about. It's, breaking free from those
Right.
restraints and those systems and those structures that we've been indoctrinated into at birth,
But I
and
also want to say this.
redefining.
It's
Hmm.
doing that, but in a
Loving way.
yes, not
Yes.
overly flamboyant and being judgmental of others.
No.
That
Right. Jesus.
causes discord in
Hmm.
folks.
Hmm.
So it's like this becoming authentic is a real thing, because you're talking humility, gratitude, all of those things,
Hmm.
and taking that really deep dive, like you said, into yourself. If you can understand this, then you can understand others.
Everyone,
Yes.
everyone. And
Yes.
that's why we love Jesus so much. It was,
Right.
treat everyone the way you would want to be treated. It's
Right.
humility, kindness, compassion, empathy,
Right. And
all of it.
even though all of this religion is built around him, I remind people all the time, very seldom was Jesus doing anything in the church or the synagogue.
No, he was teaching
That's
love.
the very people he was fighting with. He's taught outside, right?
Right.
Um, and that's okay. That's not me. It's just he knew they were very stuck
Hmm.
in tradition. I watched the show The Chosen. I don't know if you've ever watched that
Oh
show.
God, I loved it. I
I
cried.
love that
I
show.
know. Hmm.
And season 4, boy, I tell you, I got through that, and I'll watch them over and over again, because there's always I love the way that they present him in a very approachable
Yes.
and being, not
And
this thing that was presented through
correct.
religion to us
Yeah.
children, because
Hmm.
people felt less than him. And that's
Hmm.
why it's done that way. And, because we're not.
No.
He repeatedly said it. These
Yeah.
things I do, I truly say to you, you can do. And the kingdom of heaven is within you.
Hmm.
Okay. So
It's
there's some proof,
beautiful.
people.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful. I watched actually, I know this is a little so or on topic, but different. I watched the actor that plays Jesus speak yesterday. Someone sent me a little TikTok or something, and he said, "This speaks to you letting go, right? And not having to work
Right.
hard." And what you just said. He said, I was talking to my wife, and we said last year, this time when we were sitting in XYZ, wherever they were, could you ever imagine that we would be playing this role, that we be having this is our work and this is how we're touching so many people on the planet.
Right.
Could you have ever imagined that last year? No,
Exactly.
no, couldn't have. No,
And I
because
believe
you
that's happening
couldn't
to
have.
lots of people.
Hmm.
Right. And
Hmm.
so there's like this dual-edged sword of media and social media, right?
Right.
So, it's using social media to get this type of message out there, but not being in it, 24/7, where we're not out here living and participating with people in person, you know? So that's how we're able to reach so many people. Now I love it, because it's not just limiting me to here. It's very
Yeah, it's
expansive,
amazing.
which then goes along with what you're going through in here anyway, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely. We're able to touch the whole planet, which is what I've always seen,
right,
since 2020 when my downloads started and I started channeling. And
right,
I would always, my visions and my premonitions and stuff, I would always see this light grid around the planet, these
right.
little dots, and they were just
Yes,
lighting up and connecting. And that's what's happening.
yep.
That's exactly what you
So
just described.
the whole thing about telepathy, I am a firm believer that we are all telepathic.
Hmm.
They've called it mother's intuition for years. So just think about what you're saying,
Hmm.
right? And I know
Yeah.
that mother has that connection with a child. And if that's a possibility for them, then why isn't it a possibility for others? This isn't me saying to you that we're out here reading minds. That's not how this works. Usually it's a connection on some level. And you're in a place of being more authentic,
Hmm.
uh, living more in unconditional love. That's not to say that someone can't do it that's not, but for me, it's been more profound in my life, um, since all that shifted for me. I don't know how it's been for you.
Yeah. Well,
It,
your vibration rises, and so
yeah,
your connectivity enhances into the quantum field, and
yep,
your ability to hear, see, sense all the different things is heightened when your vibration is
right,
rising.
yeah,
And so organically it's easier for you. But that's why they say, like, as you're starting to wake up and you'll start having synchronicities and alignments, and you'll think of someone, and then they'll call you. It's because
yes.
you're raising your frequency, and your connectedness
If
is
I pay
expanding.
attention to something and there's something that I give myself, my purposeful intention, intentional living. But for me, intentional living is different. So just so you know, that show that I have is different. It's not just about being intentional. No, it's being intentional in your true nature. So using
Hmm.
all your little senses, resonance, and all of that. So that's a whole different thing. But if I give my attention to something, and there's something that I keep looking at for a couple days, something will walk through that door to help me with that, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
It does.
How I know that I am I am sending the message out into consciousness, and things that are able to assist me with that are coming to me. And that's a good day. When you when you have
That's an
that,
excellent
uh
day.
yes, when you have that understanding that you're doing that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Accomplishing on a in a different way, on a different level, and understanding that, you know what, I may have been doing that my whole life, and maybe that's why it was so crappy back here, because I was really focused on negative thoughts. But you're taught that, right? And you're taught to judge people, judge yourself. And you got to get out of more of that to be able to really maybe rise to a different level. And that's not me
Yeah.
saying I'm better than anybody else. That potential is within every person. I tell people when I teach, I'm like, you know what? I keep my teaching very open ended sometimes. Why? Because I'm supposed to, because
Mhm.
I am not here to stifle your potential. If you walk out of here with some seeds that I've planted within you, and then you're able to go out and save the world, good
Hooray.
for you.
Yeah.
I don't need
Right.
to keep you here as a teacher. I need to keep you here. That's the whole point.
Hmm.
We all need to keep doing this to everyone, right?
Yeah. Well, what inspired you to create those three separate shows? Where did you see that you needed, like, intentional living is beautiful and it means certain things to certain people,
Right.
like you're saying, like
Right.
you were just specifying what that is, but why, what created, what was the inspiration for them?
So authentically you is I have people on so they can talk about their story, kind of like you do.
Hmm.
I do
Hmm.
talk about authenticity, but we talk about their experiences of them becoming to that place of being authentic. The telepathic in nature talks about telepathy and how we see synchronicities within our lives, and it's more kind of driven towards that. And then the intentional living is showing how you use your gifts that you're awakening to, and impossible becoming the possible, and
Mm,
intentionally then setting yourself up for this most beautiful, limitless life to enjoy, kind of like the guy who plays Jesus.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
A beautiful example.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would love to tell people where they can find you
Okay.
and all the different ways that they can find you. And one of them I'll just say is, we are both new content creators
Yes.
for a brand new spiritual TV network called, yay, called the Ethereal Network. It's so exciting, etherealtv.net. And you'll have your three shows there. But then where else can people find you if they want to learn more about you?
Well, physically, I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. I have a store called Spiritual Relics, which I believe we're all spiritual relics.
We
Uh,
are.
yes, we are. Our souls are. And
Yes.
when I came up with that name, Spirit gave it to me because I was like, I couldn't make that up if I tried. But
Hmm.
I am here at the store in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And the store has a website, which is www.spiritualrelics.com. And then also connected to that, I have my personal website, which is my name. It's dawn-link.com. And we're also on Facebook. We're also on I'm also on Instagram. I don't do a lot of the other um,
Platforms.
modalities of social media because I don't know. I'm busy. I mean, I can't, and then once I started doing the videos for Ethereal, it, really got busy, and then I teach and all these other things. And I think,
Hmm.
you understand that, because the same boat with that.
Yes, we are
I
in the
try to
same
do
boat.
as much as I can.
Yeah.
Um, but that's okay because God's going to put me in a position where I can get some help and someone can help me do all that
Yeah. You are
stuff.
doing it. You are
I am
doing
doing
it
it.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dawn, thank you so much for sharing your profound insights and your journey with us. And it's inspiring to see what you're doing to help and support people and teach them and guide them. And of course, I'm going to put all of those little details in the show notes. But definitely for anyone who wants to learn more about your shows, go check out etherealtv.net, and you can check out, maybe if you're in the Virginia Beach area, which I feel like I need to go to Virginia Beach. I want to meet you in person. I want to meet everyone that's near me in person because it's different when you're in physical
Oh, yeah.
form with people. I just love it.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you
And we
for having
appreciate your
me.
time, your
Thank
energy, and
all of the
sharing your
work that you're
story.
doing as well.
Thank
with
you.
everything that you do.
Thank you.
And feeling empowered enough that you don't really care what people think.
Mm,
It's showing up to do it
absolutely.
every day. That's amazing. Thank you.
Having to do it. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And for everyone who's watching, thank you, or listening, thank you for joining us too. And remember, until next time, within every moment lies the call to listen to your spirit, answer it, honor it, and always live the call.
Awesome.
I hope today's episode sparked insights for you on your healing journey. If you're searching for support and connection, you should join our community at spirit-calling.com. Spirit Calling is a like-minded community of spiritual individuals learning, sharing, and growing together every day. No matter what you're experiencing in your journey, you'll find resources and a community to support you along the way. Until next time, keep listening to your internal guidance and stepping into your spirit's call.